I was 17 years old, now I'm 23, when this weird experience of mine happened. I came to Cebu to attend a refresher's course since it was a requirement for the scholarship that I have passed. Being new to the city, my parents decided to let me live in a boarding house near the school, though my father has a sister to where I can stay. Well, I was also a bit thankful because it would be my first time to live alone, and it would also be a preparation for me since I will be living away from them for my entire college days. Besides, living in a house near the school, where I will be taking the refresher's course, is preferable than going home to my aunt's house, which will take more than an hour travel from the school. That saves my time and of course energy. The house has 11 rooms, and since it was summer vacation, there weren't lots of students in the house. There were only 4 rooms occupied. Room 1, the caretaker, room 2 and 3 were occupied by other students also taking up the refresher's course, and room 10 was my room. Let me give a picture of the house. The rooms were located upstairs. Upon reaching the second floor, you will be facing the bathroom's door. On your left is a hallway leading to my room. Along the hallway, are the other rooms' doors facing each other? Upon reaching my room's door, there is an intersection. To the left is a hallway leading to other rooms, and to the right is another passage going to room 11's door. When I am new to the place, I would really be a light sleeper. I am easily awakened with even small noises from the outside. It was around 2 a.m. when I heard footsteps from the outside. The footsteps were going towards room 11. I heard the door open, but I never heard it close again. I didn't feel scared, thinking that it was the room owner who arrived late in the morning. The same thing happened the following night. I just told myself that maybe one day we could meet and introduce each other. One morning, I was packing something in a plastic bag. The plastic bag made noises while I was doing it. When I was done, I set aside the plastic bag, but seconds passed and I heard like someone doing the same thing, packing something in a plastic bag. The noise was coming from room 11. There was also another night that I heard someone knocking on the wall of my room. It was the wall which divides my room and room 11. Things about ghosts didn't come into my mind until the 5th day of my stay. I and my other housemates was chit-chatting in the hallway going to my room. We were sitting on a sofa when I suddenly glanced into my room's door. I suddenly told them that my room has been locked. Well, I really didn't know where those words came from, because all I know is that I didn't lock my room. I was pretty awake when I left my keys on the table inside my room and left the lights on since it was already around 7 p.m. Realization came to me, so I hurriedly went to my room only to find out that it was really locked. I told the caretaker about it, but unfortunately she doesn't have a spare key since it was lost. One of the guys' house help of that boarding house decided to destroy the doorknob. Yes, at last he had done it. Yet the door won't still open. As if something was blocking it. When the door is almost 2 inches opened, we noticed that the light was already off. That freaked me out, thinking that someone might have sneaked into my room. What I did was that I begged to him, or her, or whatever it was inside my room, not to do any harm to us. That I was not from the place and that he or she must not take my things. That was the time the door was easily opened. Yet we found no one inside my room and nothing was touched. I looked at our caretaker and I could see that she knew something about what had happened. Then I remembered about the footsteps, the opening of the door, and the feeling that someone was living in the room beside my room, 11. I asked her who was in that room. Yet she was shocked with the question. She was interrogating me while we were opening the next door, so I told her all about the things I could hear from room 11. Then she told me that no one was living in that room. And that the room is not allowed to be rented for a very long time, already up to the time we stayed there. True enough, I found the room abandoned and you could really see that it was not occupied. Dust covering the floor, closed windows, no bed, the room itself is lifeless. Goosebumps covered all over my body while we were inside that room, recalling what I was hearing from that room. So what was the explanation of the footsteps, the opening of the door, and the other noises coming from room 11? I didn't last in that place. After 7 days of my stay, I decided to go home. I didn't finish the refreshers course I was taking. On the last night of my stay, I bugged the house caretaker so she would tell me what really happened in that house. She was so hesitant in telling me because she was afraid that I might tell other lodgers. They might be scared off and leave the house as I did. I told her that I would not be able to tell anyone from that house since they have all gone home, and that it would be my last night of stay in that house. I demanded from her the explanation as I didn't want to leave the house being puzzled of what could have been the answers to the questions lingering in my mind. At first, she was interrogating me again if I really have heard all those things, the footsteps, the opening of the door and the other noises coming from room 11. I assured to her that they were all true and there was no reason for me to make stories. I would just be scaring myself if I'll make such stories. At last, she decided to tell me what really happened as well as the other lodgers' experiences prior to my stay. Yes, other lodgers have also experienced weird things and those who have experienced also left the house as I did. However, their experiences were much scarier than mine. The house was old, yet it looked new because of the renovations made. However, the structure inside was still the same. The placement of the rooms was not changed. In short, nothing has changed from the inside of the house except for the painting and some repairs. I could not remember the exact year when the incident happened. But it was only less than 10 years. A female student was occupying room 11. She was also a student of the school near that house. Sadly, she got pregnant and the man responsible for her pregnancy had left her. She got so depressed and so afraid that her parents would not accept what had happened to her. One day she had made up her mind and came up into a conclusion. Unfortunately, no one was there to stop her when she decided to end her problem by cutting her wrist. She died in her bed lying in her own blood. The room wasn't occupied for a while. No one experienced anything strange not until the owner of the house had allowed another lodger to stay in the room. That was when the happenings begun. The occupant said that she had woken up in the middle of her sleep and saw a lady beside her bed. The lady was looking at her. She was going to call for help, but at the blink of her eyes, the lady disappeared. However, the disappearance didn't help. She was very terrified that she slept in the other room together with the other lodgers. She didn't last in that boarding house and decided to find a new one. Another housemate of hers saw a lady walking in the hallway and stopped right in front of room 11. Suddenly the lady would disappear. Occupant in room 10 also heard footsteps going to room 11. That was the same as I have experienced. The owner of the house took the bed out of room 11 and burned it. She was hoping that it would stop these weird happenings. Sadly, it didn't. The next occupants also experienced the same. They would hear footsteps going into the room, and the most terrifying part is waking up in the middle of the night with someone watching over them. The owner decided to keep the room locked. It wasn't to be rented anymore, that is, until I arrived in that house. The caretaker told me that the new lodgers didn't really know the story. Fortunately, the new lodgers have not seen this lady, yet footsteps and noises from that room are rarely heard. The caretaker would just account it some rats living in the room. They might just be afraid that no one would be renting that house anymore.